Good morning everyone. On behalf of Mind IAS, I welcome you all. And today in continuation with my previous lecture in which we are going to discuss about human digestive system and process of digestion, I'll put some more light on the topic further. In the last topic, we have already discussed about digestion in humans and especially how the process of digestion takes place in the stomach. So in last lecture, I have covered the topic till your stomach. Now, after stomach, we have to move the next part of the digestive system, that is your small intestine. That is your small intestine. This part is very important if you see the entire process of digestion, because maybe sometime in competitive exam this question they ask that which part of the digestive system where the complete process of digestion will takes place. So small intestine is the part where complete digestion take place. Like in my previous lecture, you have seen that the process of digestion itself started from mouth. So in mouth, there is a digestion of carbohydrate, but how much carbohydrate? That is 30%. And in that 30% of digestion, carbohydrate will changes into disaccharide. If you come to stomach, in stomach also, digestion of proteins will takes place and protein will change into dipeptide. And nothing happened to the fat. And proteins and carbohydrate also not change into very simple substances. So, what is the place where they will change? So, the place is small intestine where this complex food material further break down and it will change into a very simpler food components. So, let's see what happens in small intestine. But before we start discussing that how the process of digestion completes in small intestine. Small intestine itself is not able to complete the entire process of digestion. There are two very important glands related to your digestive system. One is your pancreas and another is your liver. So with the help of these two glands, the further process of digestion will complete in your small intestine. Now the question comes that how pancreas help in the digestion process and how liver play an important role in the process of digestion. So we start from pancreas. If you see pancreas, pancreas is a very important gland because pancreas is the only gland in human body which is exo and endocrine, which is exo and endocrine in nature. Means this gland performs some function which is exocrine in nature and some functions which is endocrine in nature. If we have to discuss about nutrition, according to this perspective, the exocrine function of the pancreas is more important. So what is the exocrine function of the pancreas? It produces pancreatic juice. It produces pancreatic juice. So this pancreatic juice is very important in the entire process of digestion, and production of this juice is the exocrine function of the pancreas. So in this particular topic we have to deal with the exocrine function of the pancreas. So it, like I have written, that it produces pancreatic juices. Pancreatic juice is not a single juice. It's a juice which contains many enzymes. In the beginning of my lecture, I have already told you that when you study the process of digestion, two things are very important. First is maintenance of pH throughout the digestive system, and the second one is enzymes. So pancreatic juices, they contain many enzymes. Okay, so one by one we discuss about the enzymes, how they can convert the different food components present in the complex food. So I am writing the name of enzyme, that is, the first is trypsinogen, second is chymotrypsinogen, third one is carboxypeptidases, fourth one is your lipases, fifth one is amylases, and sixth one is nucleases. So, pancreatic juice roughly contain these many enzymes: trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases, lipases, amylases and nucleases. Other than this, pancreas also produce a very important bicarbonate ions. What is this? This is your bicarbonate ions. So, why these bicarbonate ions are important, which is present in the pancreatic juice? In the beginning of the lecture, I have explained you that maintenance of pH in each and every part of your digestive system is important. Like in mouth, the pH is alkaline. If you come to stomach, the pH is acidic. And if once again you come to intestine, the pH is alkaline. pH is around 6.7 to 6.8 pH present in the intestine. But the question is how that pH is maintained inside the small intestine. So, the answer of this question is C. Food first comes to your mouth cavity, from esophagus it will reach to stomach, and in stomach the process of digestion will take place. But the food which is coming from stomach to your small intestine, it is coming from which kind of medium? It is coming from an acidic medium. So, somebody is there to see that this acidic medium will not mixes with your alkaline medium. Okay, so that who is that somebody? That is your bicarbonate ions present in the pancreatic juice. So, bicarbonate ions present in the pancreatic juice, it neutralizes the effect of acid inside the food which is coming from the stomach, because in stomach the medium is highly acidic and in intestine the medium is alkaline. So, to neutralize the effect of acid, pancreatic juice contain bicarbonate ion which can neutralize the effect of your acid. Now we come to the enzyme part, that is trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases, lipases, amylases and nucleases. See, all these enzymes are inactive form of enzyme. If you see, these enzymes are inactive form. These enzymes are inactive form of enzymes. Means what? Means that generally if they produce or they remain in the same situation, that nogen form, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidase, so in this case they will not perform any function related to your digestion. If they have to perform the digestion process, then they have to change in a active form. Now the question comes that how they become active. So, let's begin with the first enzyme, that is trypsinogen. How this trypsinogen become active? So, this trypsinogen become active by another enzyme, which is secreted by your small intestine, and the name of that enzyme is enterokinase. The name of the enzyme is enterokinase. So, this enterokinase, this is produced by small intestine. So, sometimes student may get confused that we are talking about pancreatic juice, then we jump to small intestine. Actually, all the pancreatic juice finally reaches to your small intestine in inactive form. But the moment they reach there, then somebody is there so that they can become activate. So, who is that somebody? This another enzyme which is produced by small intestine, and name of the enzyme is enterokinase. So, this enterokinase work on this trypsinogen or activate trypsinogen. I am writing the second reaction. In that reaction, things will be clear to you. So trypsinogen, and who works on trypsinogen? Your enterokinase work on trypsinogen, and then it will change into trypsin. Change into trypsin. Now you can clearly see that this is trypsinogen and this spelling represent your trypsin. So this trypsinogen is your inactive form and trypsin is your active form of enzyme. Okay. So now the enzyme, when the trypsinogen comes in form of trypsin, now this enzyme is ready to digest the components which is present in the food. Okay. But before that, let me write one more thing, like trypsinogen in presence of enterokinase changes into trypsin. So this is the first enzyme which I have written before this slide also. Okay. Now this is the first enzyme which is activated by enterokinase, which is produced by your small intestine. What about the rest other enzymes? How they will activate? Because they are also present in inactivated form. So rest are all other enzymes, like second is your chymotrypsinogen, third one is your carboxy peptidases, fourth one is your lipases, and fifth one is your amylases, and sixth one is your nucleases. So how come these enzymes get activated? So first what will happen? First this trypsinogen become active and it will become trypsin, and then what this trypsin will do? This trypsin will activate all other enzymes. This trypsin will activate all other enzymes. So there is one enzyme, trypsinogen, which is activated by small intestine, that is enterokinase, and change into trypsin, and then this trypsin further activate all other enzyme. Now the next question, that how these enzymes digest the complex substances present in food, or what they will, which component of the food they will digest, because as you know we were discussing about your carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So which part of the food they are going to digest. Okay. So if you see all these, if you make this chart in a tabular form, it is very easy for you to memorize or learn the concept properly. So these three enzymes, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen and carboxypeptidase, these three enzymes are responsible for the digestion of proteins. They will specifically digest proteins. The next is lipases. It will helpful in the digestion of fats. Amylases, it is helpful in the digestion of carbohydrates. And nucleases, it is helpful in the digestion of nucleic acid. So above three enzymes, they together digest protein. The fourth one, lipases, digest fat, amylases digest carbohydrates, and nucleases digest nucleic acid. Sometime you may get confused that how we remember so many names, or what digest what, it's difficult to remember. No, but it's not difficult to remember if you learn the sequence in the same manner. So the first three, one is your protein, the second one is, fourth one is your fats, and fifth amylases. You have studied that in mouth, the enzyme which digests the carbohydrate is salivary amylase. So this word is very similar to that word amylases, means it digests carbohydrate, and from nucleases the word derived is nucleic acid. So it will helpful in digestion of nucleic acid. Now I am again and again I am telling that it will digest means what they do, how they digest. We said these are the complex substances, so they change into simple substances. How they will change? Like protein will change into which simple substance? Amino acids. So in presence of these three enzymes, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen and carboxypeptidase, protein will change into amino acid. In second step, what will happen? The carbohydrate will change into simple glucose, or you can say that glucose is the major source of energy in human body. So in presence of amylases, this carbohydrate, which enzyme? Amylase. Okay, here which enzyme? Trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptide. So in presence of these three enzymes, all the protein will change into amino acid. Carbohydrate in presence of amylase will change into glucose, and nucleic acid, which is the major component of cell, it will change into, enzyme uses nuclease, and it will change into nucleotide plus nucleoside. So it will break into sometime in nucleotide and sometime in nucleoside. Now one more thing left, we have yet not discussed the digestion of fat. We have also not discussed about this enzyme lipases. So there is a reason behind that why we have not discussed, because if you see that fat is a very big molecule, and if you compare the size of the fat with the size of this lipase enzyme, the enzyme is very small. We use these enzymes as biocatalysts. So enzyme is small and the fat is large. So such a large fat molecule, this lipases enzyme will not work. So if not work, then what will happen? And how the things will digest? Okay. So in that, then your bile comes into the picture, which is secreted by your liver. Okay. So liver secrete your bile juice. Liver secretes your bile juice. Okay. So what is the function of this bile juice? Bile juice play a very important role, especially in digestion of fat. Now the question is how? Okay. So what I have said, that fat is a bigger molecule, and if you compare the size of enzyme, it is so small. So how such a small enzyme work on such a large fat molecule? So in this, bile play a very important role. How this bile act on this fat molecule and break this fat molecule into many pieces. Okay. So this big fat molecule will change into many small pieces. Now you compare the size of the fat with the size of the enzyme. It may be equal or more smaller than your enzyme. Okay. So this bile will, what bile will do? Break down. It will break down the larger fat globules into smaller one. So they can break down the larger fat globules into the smaller one. So this breaking down of larger fat molecule into a smaller one, we use a term in science for this, and that term is called emulsification. The term is called emulsification, very important term. The term is emulsification. So maybe question will come that what is emulsification? So emulsification is nothing but it is a breakdown of larger fat molecules into smaller globules so that these small enzymes can work on it. Okay. So once this will change into smaller granules, these granules are called micelles. These granules are called micelles. So after emulsification of fat, when the larger fat globule will change into the smaller one, it is called micelles. Okay. So now this will become very small, and now the enzyme, which enzyme? Lipases. will work more effectively on these small globules, and it will increase the rate of digestion of fat molecules. So after digestion, fat will change into your fatty acid plus glycerol. So in this way, with the help of the enzyme lipases, with the help of the bile juice, because of this emulsification process, the entire digestion of fat will also complete. The fat will also change into fatty acid and glycerol. Now you have seen that we initially started three important components of food, that is carbohydrate, proteins and fats. How these food substances digested, that in different parts of the alimentary canal, that also we have seen. And in small intestine, just because of help of all pancreatic juices and bile produced by the liver, the entire process of digestion will complete. After this process of digestion will complete, the remaining food, or you can say the undigested food, reach to your large intestine. And if you see, large intestine will not responsible for as much as involvement in the digestion. Some amount of water absorbed with the help of large intestine, some drugs or medicines also absorb in large intestines. Other than this, there is no very much important or significant role of large intestine in your process of digestion. Rectum is the portion of digestive system where you can temporarily store your solid fecus for some time, and anus is the opening through which you remove the waste. Okay, so this is the entire course of the process of digestion. But one more thing, or in beginning of my lecture I have told you that the process of digestion consists of ingestion, digestion. Once all these complex food material change into simpler substance, after that what will happen? So the third step in the process of digestion is your absorption, the most important. So the next process is your absorption. All the food substances, complex food substances, changes into simpler substances like glucose, amino acid, fatty acid plus glycerol. Okay. So once the process of digestion will complete, why we are taking food? To get energy. Okay. In the process of digestion, these changes into simpler forms, but after that what they will do? They will absorb in which place? The place is your small intestine only. Small intestine only the process of absorption will take place. So for that, obviously there are some structures or some specific characters present in small intestine which can helpful in this process of absorption. So if you see the structure of small intestine, no, you can find the structure if, like this. Okay, these kind of tall cells are present inside the small intestine, and these cells are provided with these kinds of So if you see the structure is somewhat like this. These are the tall cells which you can easily see they are provided by some kind of vessels. So what about these cells? Why they are important? What are these small structures which is present on the surface of these cells and what this network is all about? Okay. So these are the specialized you can say region present in small intestine which can specifically take part in the process of absorption. See, if you see, all these cells are surrounded by these hair-like processes. So these hair-like processes are called microvilli. Okay. And what is the function of microvilli? Why they are important? See, in the beginning of the discussion we have already seen that small intestine is a 7-meter long tube if you open. Okay. But it in the folded form, it is present in a very small area inside the body. I will give you a very good example related to this which can help you to understand this concept. Suppose I will take a mug of water and I put that mug of water on the head of a girl who is having a very long hair. So what do you think? If you put a mug of water, the entire mug of water come on the ground? No. Most of the water is absorbed by the long hair of the beautiful girl. But if the same mug of water, you will take an example of a bald man and you put the same mug of water over the head of the bald man, what will happen? The moment you put the water, the entire water will come down because there are no hairs to absorb. Okay. So wherever these hair-like processes present, it will helpful in the process of absorption. It will helpful in the process of absorption. It will increase the surface area for absorption. See, absorption will take place if the surface is plane. But suppose if the surface is plane, the absorption may be X. But if the surface contains microvilli, the absorption will increase to 5x. So that's why these hair-like processes, which is called microvilli, is present in your small intestine. Now if you see the structure more deeper, more in detail, I have drawn these two things with two different colors. So red color represent your blood vessels. It is represent your blood vessels, and the green and blue one represent your lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels. Okay. So if you have to construct a house, okay, and the moment we plan to construct a house, now what we do? We'll take construct a house, and then we have a electricity pipe, then we have a plumbing pipe in which the water will run, and we have a different supply for electricity pipes also. Before cementing to the wall, we can run all these pipes throughout our house wherever we require water or electricity. But don't you think that it will require too much of cost? What happen if we use the same pipe, single pipe we use for your water also, and same in for electricity also? So that is good? No. Someday will happen that you go into the washroom to take the shower and you just go to sky without any ticket. Okay. So that's why we use a separate channel for the distribution of different things at home. If we have to move water, so we use a separate water pipeline. If we have to run electricity, we use a separate electricity pipe. We never mix water and electricity together, otherwise it will be dangerous for some or the other day, maybe not in the beginning. Similarly here, two kind of supplies are given. One is your blood vessel and another one is your lymph vessel. So if you see blood vessel, what absorbs in blood vessel? Your protein, or we cannot say protein here, glucose, the simpler form, and amino acids. Okay. So blood vessel is responsible for the absorption of glucose and amino acids, and lymphatic vessels responsible for the absorption of fatty acid plus glycerol. Okay. So in this way, with the help of blood, this glucose and amino acids and other important substances, other important nutrients will reach to your all the cells of the body, and then cells will get energy from that simple substances, because cell can understand the language of these simple substances, that is glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. So in this way the process of absorption will complete. Now the next step in the process of digestion is assimilation. Assimilation means how to produce energy by using these simple substances. So producing energy by using these simple substances is a topic which is related to your respiration. So in our very next chapter, respiration, in the next video lecture we can see that how by using simple substances energy is produced in the body to get energy, and after taking energy how the body will function. There is different mechanism of producing energy in different organisms. So that also we'll discuss in the next part of the same chapter, that is life processes. The next part is your respiration. Thank you everyone for today. If you find the video good, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for today.